today's headlines: Go warns versus complacency against COVID. Binay pushes more in-person classes. Alyson faith Fabello-Podwoiski ready for Miss Philippines USA 10th edition. Aviation hoping for easing of restriction. Warehouse yields smuggled vegetables. Cebu Pacific brings home 1,417 Pinoys. Public warned against delivery scam. According to DepEd, it's all systems go for the pilot face-to-face classes. Good morning, I am Venice Bautista and this is Tribune News on Q. Today is October 25, 2021 and these are the latest news this Monday morning. Senator Christopher Bongo on Sunday cautioned against complacency in the fight against COVID-19, urging the public to sustain the momentum by upholding discipline, vigilance, cooperation, and the bayanihan spirit. He noted that the downward trend of COVID-19 cases attests to the effectiveness of science-based government pandemic response. Amid these developments, Go said the government's vaccine rollout, which has fully vaccinated more than 25 million Filipinos as of October 21, continues to reach even more to ensure no one is left behind. The country has so far received 97 million vaccine doses as of said date, with more than 55 million doses administered and almost 30 million Filipinos getting their initial dose as well. The government, according to the senator, has also expanded the national immunization program to the general public in accordance with vaccination guidelines recommended by health experts. By the end of October, the government hopes to have fully vaccinated at least 85% of the eligible population in the NCR, while expanding the rollout in the critical areas of Metro Cebu, Metro Davao, Bulacan, Batangas, Cavite, Laguna, Pampanga, and Rizal. The former presidential aide then thanked the Filipino people for their continuing high trust and support, citing Publicus Asia's Pahayag Quarter 3 survey, showing him retaining top spot among the lawmakers consistent with the earlier results in Quarter 2 conducted last July of this year. Moreover, the study also showed that 23.6% of respondents expressed support for his vice presidential candidacy. Senator Nancy Binay yesterday pushed for the inclusion of more tertiary degree programs and the resumption of limited face-to-face classes by January next year. In a radio interview, Binay appealed to the Commission on Higher Education, or CHED, to expand the coverage of physical classes, citing the eligibility of college students for COVID-19 vaccines, as well as the further loosening of restrictions in the country. Some students in the tertiary are aged 18 years old and above. They're supposed to be vaccinated and are easier to teach about the protocols in schools, unlike those who are in basic education, Binay said. At this point, the higher education sector can open its in-person classes in all programs instead of only engineering and medical courses. Arcades and cinemas have already resumed operations, so why should we not do the same for schools, she added. CHED is currently prioritizing the reopening of in-person classes in selected programs needing hands-on experience, such as medical allied courses, engineering and technology programs, hospitality or hotel and restaurant management, tourism or travel management, marine engineering, and marine transportation. However, CHED chairperson Prospero de Vera last week said his agency is studying the possibility of holding physical classes for all programs in low-risk areas in the country by 2022. Numerous factors, however, are still being studied, including the level of risk, the vaccination rate of students and faculty members, and the inoculation of the general population in the said areas. De Vera added that an experts group is currently drafting guidelines that would ensure public safety during the reopening of classes. Binay expressed a similar call, saying that if the commission cannot open in-person classes for all, then it can add more degree programs to their list. The lawmaker also reminded the commission to assure that it will not discriminate against unvaccinated students in crafting policies for the safe resumption of physical classes amid the low supply of coronavirus jabs in the country. The 20-year-old Ali was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan, and currently resides in Hollywood, California, in preparation for the Miss Philippines USA 10th edition.
So, can you tell us your preparation in this pageant, the Miss Philippines USA 10th edition?
I am currently training, and we are doing modeling walking, we are practicing question and answer, and I also have been walking around my everyday life in high heels, making sure my posture is better. I've just been really preparing and taking the time to mentally get myself ready to do it.
So, can you tell us your preparation in this?
The pageant has been serving community projects since 2012 to promote the heritage, beauty, and culture of the Philippines, the inner beauty of the Filipino-American women in the Philippines and in the U.S., and to develop the finest ambassadors of goodwill. The organization's long-term goal is to send the winner and her court to compete in an international beauty pageant like Miss Universe. Ali, one of this year's front-runners in the pageant, walked the New York Fashion Week back in 2018 despite a sprained ankle, and she was also thankful and grateful when she went on a mission trip to the Philippines for the Gawad Kalingap village when she was still a senior.
And just one more question. I heard that you visited the Philippines way back, the Gawad Kalingap village, right? Also, you struck the runway of the New York Fashion Week way back in 2018. So can you tell us your experience or your precious journey on that occasion?
Yes, absolutely. So New York Fashion Week was amazing. And putting smiles on their faces.
Best of luck to you, Ali. Tribune News on Q will be back after these short reminders.
Botomoto Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
Magandang araw mga katribo! Narito na ang mga makakasama nyo tuwing umaga sa programang Gising Na. Roy Pelevelo, Comfy Manalo, Atty. Lia Badillo Crisostomo, Vernon Velasco, Kim Sancha at Jerk Balagtas. Abangan ang programang Gising Na mula alas 8 hanggang alas 9 ng umaga sa Facebook page ng Daily Tribune.
Ilabas na ang mainit na kape at samahan kami sa inyong pag-almusal, mga katribo.
Sama-sama natin alamin ang mga natatagong istorya sa mga latest na kaganapan sa loob at labas ng bansa.
Simulan natin ang bawat umaga with good vibes sa mga informative and recreational segments ng aming programa.
Maaari niyo rin ibahagi sa amin ang inyong opinion via Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now sa YouTube.
Makichika na rin sa latest showbiz happenings, mga katribo.
Kaya naman, magkita-kita po tayo mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 8 hanggang alas 9 ng umaga at magsama-sama po tayo sa
Gising Na!
Botomoto Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
We're back on Tribune News on Q. The aviation sector, which has yet to fully recover from the harrowing impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, is waiting for the government to further ease mobility restrictions to rehire retrenched airline workers. In a press conference last week, AirAsia Philippines spokesperson Steve Daisilan said the budget carrier is planning to rehire laid-off workers. However, Dailisan pointed out that the number of employees will greatly depend on how relaxed the government borders restrictions in both local and international destinations would be. According to AirAsia Philippines CEO Ricky Ayla, rehiring would happen by the second quarter of 2022 as the firm expects to return to the pre-pandemic level by then. There will be more aircraft, more destinations, additional destinations or flights by then, and the first thing to do is to rehire pilots, cabin crews, engineers, and maintenance people, he said. Details cannot be given at this point, but right now they are looking at a workforce that is sufficient for their aircraft and destinations, he added. AirAsia Philippines is currently operating around 10 to 15% of its pre-pandemic capacity as of the third quarter. It has 1,500 employees in its present workforce. Since the onset of the pandemic, 624 employees were laid off to keep the company's financial footing afloat. Smuggled onions worth at least 5 million pesos were seized by the Bureau of Customs at the port of Cagayan de Oro during a raid at a warehouse in Barangay Puntod. The BOC CDO office said on Sunday that the warehouse located in the Cudao Corrales extension was raided on the strength of a mission order signed by BOC Commissioner Ray Guerrero. A BOC team led by Oliver Valiente, with support from the police and Coast Guard, and with barangay officials as observers, conducted the raid. The mission order was issued based on an intelligence report that imported agricultural products were being kept at the warehouse. The warehouse's gates were closed and no one was inside when the team stormed inside, and the gates were then sealed for further physical examination. An inspection the next day revealed the presence of garlic, onion, mung beans, and carrots. They will be subject to seizure and forfeiture proceedings under Section 224 of the Customs Modernization and Tariff Act unless the necessary import documents are presented within 15 days. The red onions worth 5 million pesos were immediately declared as smuggled and seized after the Department of Agriculture verified it has not been issued an import permit for them. Over the past 2 weeks, the Cebu Pacific brought home 1,417 Filipinos from Dubai via 7 Bayanihan flights to support the government's repatriation program. Cebu Pacific said that its special commercial flights from Dubai to Manila on 11, 13, 18, and 20th of October and Dubai to Davao on 21 to 23 of October were mounted in coordination with the Philippine government's Special Working Group. Each passenger gets a meal upgrade and additional 25-kilogram baggage allowance on these flights. All passengers on these Bayanihan flights have to comply with health protocols, including a mandatory facility-based quarantine and a swab test to be taken on the 5th day for the fully vaccinated or 7th day for non or partially vaccinated after arrival. Cebu Pacific also coordinated with the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration or OWA to accommodate all arriving overseas Filipino workers and their dependents in Bureau of Quarantine designated stringent quarantine hotels. The cost of quarantine accommodation and testing for land-based OFW were shouldered by OWA, while the Philippine Ports Authority covered the cost for sea-based OFW, and for all returning overseas Filipinos or non-OFW should arrange and sell for their testing and minimum of 6-day quarantine hotel reservations in the same BOQ-designated stringent quarantine facilities. Cebu Pacific Strategy Officer Chief Alex Reyes said that these Bayanihan flights were mounted so they can bring more Filipinos home. They will keep on working to provide more ways to help more Filipinos as we enter the holiday season. Reyes added that Cebu Pacific has flown more than 6,500 Filipinos from Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Oman, India, Vietnam, Lebanon, and Bahrain through Bayanihan and Department of Foreign Affairs arranged charter flights since July. Tribune News on Q will be back. Stay with us.
Botomoto Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
Watch out for the new episode of the Athletes Tribune Season 2. Diretsahang tanong.
Nela, meron na bang moment sa buhay mo na parang gusto mo na maghamon, pipitalan?
Matapang na sagot.
Nag-abiso lang ako sa gulay na kumain ka ng gulay sis. para may sustansya ka, gano'n.
Alamin kung anong tunay. Kasama ang volleyball commentator and former spiker of the UST Golden Tigresses, Mela Tunay. Ngayong Lunes na, October 25, 7 p.m. sa mas pina-exciting na all-new season ng The Athletes Tribune.
Botomoto Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
You are still watching Tribune News on Q. And in other news, the Department of Justice Office of Cybercrime warned the public over the weekend against a delivery scam where consumers are forced to receive and pay for parcels they did not order online. The warning was issued by the office since it received reports regarding the current modus operandi of perpetrators representing themselves as couriers who target victims by delivering and demanding payment for parcels that were allegedly bought online. In its advisory, the DOJ-OCC said, if you are not expecting delivery based thereon, refuse receiving and paying for this parcel being delivered. Advise members of your household to consult with you first before accepting parcels that are allegedly for you. To avoid the delivery scam, the DOJ-OCC said the public should properly dispose of pouches and/or boxes of parcels containing their personal information. Parcels containing personal and sensitive information should be shredded in a cross-cut, diamond cut, or confetti cut manner. It also said that as an alternative, the information on pouches and/or boxes may also be redacted by covering these with pens or markers with dark permanent ink. It added individuals should also look at their account with the official online selling platform to check existing orders for delivery. Those involved in the said delivery scam were strongly warned by the DOJ-OCC to stop their illegal activities. Perpetrators engaged in these schemes may be held liable either for violation of Section 25 of Republic Act 10173 or the Data Privacy Act of 2012 under the offense unauthorized processing of personal information and sensitive personal information or for estafa under the revised penal code.
Final na po yan sa final face-to-face ng ating paaralan sa pampubliko sa November 15. Pero yung sa private school, dahil medyo mahaba yung proseso ng pagpili ng mga schools dito sa yung 20 na private school, a week after siya magsisimula. Final na po yan.
Of face-to-face classes on 15 November 2021. In an interview with Daily Tribune's Gising Na, DepEd Planning Services Director Roger Masapol also clarified that the in-person classes also need the go signal of concerned local government units. Masapol added that the initial week of the face-to-face classes will cover public schools while the private schools are expected to start a week after. He added that the 20 private schools covered by the pilot implementation are still being finalized. And at the same time, Masapol stressed that it is not mandatory for students to join the face-to-face classes and also need consent from the parents. He explained that from 25 pupils, the number of participants from kinder will be decreased to 12, while from 30 students, the number of pupils from grade 1 to 3 will be lessened to 16. According to Masapol, for senior high school, from 40 students, it was decreased to 20 students and 12 for laboratory. He assured that necessary preparations are being made to ensure social distancing and other health protocols are strictly followed. And that wraps up the stories for this morning. We would like to thank the SM Store, Arnada Center, Department of Tourism, MG Motors, Hina Motors, Security Bank, and Alan Lin for supporting us. Again, this is Venice Bautista. Stay safe, stay healthy, and good morning.
Boto mo to, Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
Catch the latest news on our website, tribune.net.ph. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tribune Now. Download the Daily Tribune app on Apple Store for iOS and Google Play for Android to get the latest and most comprehensive news online. Daily Tribune invites you to join its Viber community, Katribu, to get updates on the hottest news on politics, business, sports, lifestyle, and entertainment. Emoticons of the Tribune mascot Tarsito are available on our community Viber.